My nephew shot me a text. Get mom the $1,500 phone for Christmas or don't bother showing up. Before I could even process it, my sister jumped in. You're lucky we even bother asking you. I didn't reply. I went quiet. That same night while they slept, I started moving in silence. By 9 the next morning, their phones were blowing up and the screaming had already started. I still don't know the exact moment it flipped, when giving freely turned into something they felt owed. Maybe it was the year I got the big promotion and told everyone I'd cover their cell bills, just till Courtney finishes school. Or maybe the time mom's fridge died, and I replaced it without hesitation, only for Courtney to mutter, "Must be nice to be the golden child." Somewhere along the line, I stopped being their sister and started being the family ATM. No gratitude, no check-ins, just constant small charges, favors, and invisible rules everyone else seemed to know except me. I'm the one who pays for the household Amazon Prime, the Netflix profile they all use, the Spotify family plan, the shared Costco card. I didn't even realize Aiden's line had been added to my plan until I opened last month's bill. And I kept paying because that's what I'd always done. Then last Christmas something cracked open. Courtney rolled her eyes when I said I might stay in the city this year instead of flying home. "You don't even have a real family of your own," she said, thumb still scrolling. I carried that sentence like a stone in my coat pocket for weeks. Then 2 nights ago the text came while I was stirring pasta, headphones in, wine breathing on the counter. "Aiden, buy her the new phone. The $1,500 one, you can afford it. Don't come if you're not going to do something that basic." No greeting, no "how are you?" Just the demand and the threat. I left him on read. Minutes later, Courtney added, "You should feel blessed we even include you in the conversation. You have no kids, no husband, no real bills. You sit in that fancy condo like royalty. It's one gift." It wasn't the amount. It wasn't the phone. It was "you should feel blessed we even include you." That was the moment I realized I wasn't a sister anymore. I was a service they subscribed to, and they thought they were doing me a favor by keeping the account active. So I didn't argue, I didn't send a long text. I logged in and started removing. Amazon Prime, every profile except mine, gone. Netflix kicked them all out. Spotify family plan dissolved. Hulu gone. The shared cell phone plan, every line except mine, canceled before breakfast. By 9 o'clock, the meltdown was orchestral. Courtney was hysterical in the group chat. Aiden called twice, left a voicemail asking if I'd stopped taking my meds. Mom sent a single text. "The music app isn't working and I can't order anything online. What's going on?" I ignored every ping. By the second morning, the group chat looked like a crime scene. Courtney swung from rage to martyrdom in minutes, called me selfish, then said she'd light a candle for my soul, then played the "you've ruined Christmas" card like a trump she'd been saving for years. Aiden went straight for the diagnosis. I clearly needed therapy. I was having a breakdown. I wasn't breaking. For the first time in years, I was inhaling. Mom tried the soft approach. "Can we talk?" Followed 20 minutes later by "Your sister says the phone stopped working." No question mark. Just that familiar flat disappointment she uses when she refuses to pick a side out loud. I answered none of it. I sat on my couch with coffee and silence and wondered how I ever let it get this far. I'd been quietly funding pieces of their lives for years. Never bragged, never itemized, never even mentioned it. I knew Courtney and Aiden were always broke. I knew Mom and Dad were drowning in medical debt. So I covered things because that's what you do for family, right? But the second I refused one single extravagant gift, I became the enemy. That's what hurt worst, not the money, but how quickly the love evaporated the moment the tap ran dry. So I turned the tap off completely. Netflix gone. Amazon logged everyone out and changed the password. Spotify, only my account left. The family cell plan, every line terminated except mine. Even the emergency credit card I'd given Mom after Dad's surgery, frozen. She'd used it for wine 3 days earlier and probably forgot it wasn't hers. No announcement. No "here's why." Just quiet deletion, my version of spring cleaning. The silence from my side didn't last. At 9:12 a.m., Courtney tried a new tactic. "You seriously left your 6-year-old niece without a phone? What kind of aunt does that?" "She doesn't have a phone. She's 6. Aiden texted that I owed the family because I'd had a head start in life. I actually laughed out loud. Head start. I worked 2 jobs and night classes while Courtney quit college after 1 semester to marry a man who truly believed meme coins were retirement planning. Then came the call I never expected, Dad. He's the peacemaker who usually just changes the channel when the room gets loud. But there he was, downstairs, asking to be buzzed up. He stepped inside like a man carrying someone else's bad news. Said things were spiraling. Said Courtney was hurt, Aiden was stressed, they had a kid now, maybe I could just let everything go back to normal for the little one. Then the classic line, "You don't know how hard it is to raise a child, Jeanette." Because I never married at 22. Because I never had a baby before I could afford one. Because I own my condo outright and paid my car off in cash, I'm the designated mule forever. I listened, said almost nothing. He left thinking I was softening. The door closed and I opened my banking app. I pulled statements for the last 3 years, roughly $27,000. Not one genuine thank you that wasn't immediately followed by another ask. I wasn't softening, I was just getting warmed up. By Monday night the tone changed. The anger burned itself out and panic moved in. The group chat went eerily quiet. I figured they were workshopping a new guilt strategy. Then a message from cousin Tasha, someone I only see at weddings and funerals. Courtney had apparently begged her to talk sense into me. Courtney never talks to Tasha. That's when I knew they were desperate. Later that night I got an email notification, Aiden trying to reset the Amazon password. I'd already removed his email, but the attempt was enough. I added 2-factor and slept like a baby. I started a folder on my laptop, screenshots, call logs, bank exports, not for them, for me. A vaccination against future guilt. Tuesday morning, Mom tried again while I was at work, left a voicemail, then texted. "I know you're upset, but your sister is struggling. Can't you just help until things settle? You're the only one who can, be the bigger person. Your father always said that's your gift." There it was again. You're the only one who can? Not because I'm kind, because I succeeded. Because I clawed my way into stability and they mistook it for a communal resource. That evening, Dad called from a different number. Left a voicemail that Courtney and Aiden were in a real bind. The car had been repossessed. Turns out 2 years ago I'd sent a pay stub so they could qualify for a lease. I never co-signed, but the dealer had my income on file. When payments stopped, guess who they called? I realized then it wasn't just leaning on me. They had built their entire house of cards on my credit. I went home and canceled the last automatic payment I still had, their internet bill. $74 a month, tiny, symbolic, gone. 20 minutes later, Courtney called. I let it ring. She didn't leave a message, but she would the next day, and what she said rewrote everything. Wednesday was heavy quiet, no texts, no calls. I knew the calm was fake. They were reloading. I was right. Wednesday afternoon, an unknown number. I let it roll to voicemail. It was Courtney crying, real crying, not the performative kind. Voice small and cracked. "Please call me back. It's not about the money anymore. Please, we need help. It's not just us." I almost deleted it. Instead, I called back. She answered on the first ring, told me they'd been evicted that morning. Aiden hadn't paid rent in 3 months. He'd been dumping every dime into sneaker reselling and crypto again. They were crashing in his cousin's basement. Car towed. Power off. Her daughter hadn't been to school because there was no gas and no Wi-Fi for remote days. She begged. Said they'd pay me back. Said this time would be different. I was inches from saying yes. Then she added, "Mom says part of this is on you too. You knew Aiden was terrible with money and you kept enabling him." Even at rock bottom, I was still the co-defendant. I told her I'd think about it and hung up. That same night the elementary school emailed me. I was still the emergency contact. Courtney never showed up to get her daughter. I left work, picked the kid up. She climbed into my car without a word, clutching her backpack like a life jacket. On the drive home, she said quietly, "Daddy says we're poor now because you're mad at Mommy." I had no words, so I gave her none. She stayed with me that night. I fed her real food, helped with homework, updated the school contact info. Courtney called once. I didn't answer. Thursday morning, Mom showed up unannounced. Walked in, looked around my clean, quiet apartment like it offended her and said, "This isn't right." I asked what exactly wasn't right, giving a 6-year-old a safe place to sleep. She ignored that. "Courtney's your sister. If you let them collapse now, they may never get back up." I asked if she'd ever said that to Courtney while Courtney was treating me like a personal bank. Mom didn't care for the question. She left muttering that she didn't raise me to act this way. That's when I understood. They didn't want rescue. They wanted the old subscription plan reinstated, no questions asked. They kept trying. Aiden showed up at my work with excuses. Dad sent another gentle plea, but none of them knew the bomb that was already ticking. Thursday night, an Instagram DM from a woman named Natalie. "Hey, I think we should talk." "About Aiden?" Turns out Natalie had been dating him for over a year. He told her he was divorced, that Courtney was the crazy ex, that the little girl in his photos was his niece. He'd even borrowed money from her. While my sister was on the phone begging me, he was living a double life. I asked Natalie if she'd be willing to tell Courtney the truth. She said she'd think about it. Friday morning, I texted Courtney one line. "Ask Aiden who Natalie is." That was the last calm moment. 2 Saturday, 4 missed calls and a voicemail of pure chaos. Courtney had confronted him. He didn't deny it. Packed a bag and disappeared into the night. No goodbye to his daughter. Nothing. Mom called me Saturday morning, voice thin and exhausted. Said she was staying with Courtney to help with the baby. Said now that the real problem was gone, maybe I could step in. I told her the real problem was bigger than Aiden. It was the whole pattern, entitlement, excuses, weaponized guilt. I said I was done funding it. Silence on her end. Then, "You're really going to throw your family away over a phone?" They still thought it was about a phone. The following Sunday, they all came to my door, Courtney holding her daughter's hand, Mom and Dad on either side like bodyguards. Dad carried a manila envelope. Mom wore the tight smile people use at interventions. Courtney gave the speech she'd clearly rehearsed. She was sorry, she took me for granted, Aiden poisoned everything. She was ready to start over. They'd found a cheap 2-bedroom, just needed help with deposit first-month utilities. Dad slid the envelope across the table, itemized list, even a promise to repay in 6 months. I let them finish. Then I said no, calm. Final, Mom's face collapsed. Dad looked like he'd been slapped. Courtney just stared. I told them I'd already carried them for years. The only reason they weren't in a shelter right now was because of money they never even thanked me for. I wasn't angry anymore. I was simply finished. Mom called me cruel, said I was punishing a child to prove a point. I said the point was that I was no longer responsible for adults who never treated me like family unless they needed something. Then I opened the door. They left without another word. That was 6 weeks ago. Tasha says Courtney found a tiny place an hour outside the city, started working at a daycare, blocked Aiden for good. Mom and Dad are still furious. They say I'm not the daughter they raised. Maybe they're right. Maybe I finally became the person I was supposed to be all along. Sometimes walking away isn't punishment. It's oxygen, and if they ever stand on their own 2 feet again, great. But they won't be standing on mine.